Hi everyone, welcome to another Elixir Kitchen cooking and nutrition class. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a very exciting session today. My name is Geremy Capone. I am the wellness chef for the Cancer Rehabilitation and Survivorship Program at the Princess Margaret Cancer Center, and joined, as always, the amazing registered dietitian, Daniela Fierini. Hello, Daniela.
Hi. I'm still getting used to being here in person. I just love it. So today we thought we'd do a special session on food safety. Canadian Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving's around the corner. We want to celebrate with family and friends. When you have cancer or you're going through cancer treatment, your immune system may be weaker. And so we need to follow some extra special precautions for that. So to showcase some of those important food safety tips, as usual, Geremy has created an incredibly delicious recipe for us. It is an orange chestnut and turkey stuffing. And this recipe is rich in protein, good for healing after treatment, preserving muscle mass, which is really important, and several health protective compounds. And it can be enjoyed as a side dish to the holiday meal, or as a little meal on its own, or even as a snack, maybe in the middle of the day, right? If you need it. The recipe works really well. It's flexible and versatile. It works really well if your appetite is poor. So that's why it's important for us to look at recipes that you can have in small amounts throughout the day to keep up your energy, keep up your strength. But along with that, you want to make sure that you're not introducing germs to your cooked foods. And what we want to do is safely prepare the stuffing with clean hands, clean utensils, then cook the stuffing to a safe internal temperature using a digital thermometer is most important. And then, of course, storing the leftovers promptly to prevent introduction, or not introduction, but germs growing. Germs love to grow at room temperature. So that's enough of me talking. Let's get into the recipe. And of course, what we're doing first, always make sure clean hands, wash with soap and water, clean countertop. Geremy always makes sure that the area is spick and span. It's enough of me now. Over to you.
Thanks, Daniela. Yes, so Thanksgiving is around the corner. Canadian first, then the American Thanksgiving. It's probably my favorite holiday meal. But I think stuffing seems to always creep up near the top, right?
My favorite.
So we're going to spend a little more time and make this a really, really good stuffing. I'm not knocking the box stuffing. There's a place for the box stuffing for sure. But I think, you know what? People always go for seconds and thirds. And like you mentioned, it's a great leftover option. Let's make this a really, really good stuffing. Okay, so we're going to break this down into three main components. Right? Our protein, like I mentioned, and we're using turkey, which means that we want to, because it is so lean, we don't want it to dry out, we want to add some really nice aromatics. So that's step two. Some really, really nice flavors, we call these aromatics. We have a few great options here. So that's step two, aromatics, and this can be whatever you want as well. And then three, obviously, we wouldn't be stuffing without the bread, right? And this is a great way to use up, if you have like bread in the freezer, toast it up quickly, throw it through either a food processor, or you can just chop it up by hand. This is a great option for stuffing, so you don't have to buy out another loaf of bread. This is a great way to use up some of your stored freezer bread. So we're ready to go. First thing we're going to do, we're going to start off with one of the aromatics. I love the idea with the addition of dried fruit to this. It adds a little bit of sweetness. So it's going to balance nicely with a lot of the savory aromatics that we're going to be using. So any dried fruit will work. I'm using just some golden raisins, but this would be good with dried cranberries, dried apricots, whatever you like to use. Addition, our next aromatic is our orange here. Now, I started off by removing the zest of the orange, which is here. You can use a micro grater for that, which is one of my favorite tools. We're going to use this a little bit later, so stay tuned. But the orange juice, the juice from the orange, we're going to also add to these raisins.
That's a pretty juicy orange.
It is a very juicy orange, yeah. So, I'm not measuring this, obviously. It's not an exact science, but we're adding probably around, what, 3/4 of a cup of juice here,
Yeah, I would say that.
right? Because we have some water already in there. So get that orange juice out. And the raisins are also going to soak up some of that orange juice, okay? I'm not adding any other liquid to this. So because we have the bread, which is going to soak up a lot of that liquid, the turkey, which is already going to be lean, there's not going to be a lot of fat rendered out of that. We want to add some additional liquid to this. You can add broth, you can add like a stock. That would also add some additional flavor. And we're going to go ahead with our other aromatics. So herbs, this is the sort of our festive herbs. We have some sage, we have some rosemary, just wash them really well, and you can dry them. You can add some oregano, whatever you like. And I'm just giving this a rough chop. I am using my knife, but you can use this, you can add this to like a food processor.
Okay.
And just blitz it up just until it's broken down a little bit. Onion for this actually just had some shallot, so it'll be shallot today. And we can roughly chop that. Again, you can definitely throw all of this into the food processor and chop it up that way.
So we talked about it before. It's an excellent source of protein, but it also has a lot of the B vitamins, selenium, and also, what am I missing? Oh yeah, phosphorus. Phosphorus, which we want for good bones. So really important source of protein. It also helps us move away from having a lot of red meat in a diet, is to introduce the ground turkey.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to add our aromatics to our ground turkey. So we'll start off with those chopped onions. And it's about maybe a cup in total. So you can just scoop them along, scoops everything up, and we can easily put that into our bowl. So one of my favorites, bench scraper. All right, so we have our herbs, we have our onion. We're going to add some garlic, which I'm going to use my rasp, the same rasp that I used for the zest. We're going to grate a clove or two.
Some other interesting ingredients here too.
Yes, we have some ground nutmeg. You can add any spices that you want to this. That has more of that like holiday feel to it, right?
Yeah.
And then some chestnuts. Now, these are one of my favorites. You see them definitely around the holiday times, holiday season. You'll probably see them closer to Christmas time.
Yes.
And the fresh ones, anyways. So what I like to use in the meantime are the vac-packed chestnuts, the vacuum-packed, which are fantastic. They're great to use. They're already cooked. Should be there. And all you have to do is open up the package, and then I like break them up a little bit, just like rustically break them up.
And I don't know if you knew this, but chestnuts actually contain fewer calories than most other nuts because they're lower in fat. We're getting some good fiber. We're getting some, what are the nutrients in here? Oh yeah, we've got some vitamin C. We've got some interesting nutrients called gallic acid, which is great for heart health, ellagic acid, also heart health.
All right, so chestnuts go in. Back to those raisins, the dried fruit, that orange. We're going to pour all of that in. Moisture goes in. And then our bread. So again, just roughly chopped up. I like bigger pieces. If you want smaller, you can do it smaller. Some people like it really fine, almost like a coarse breadcrumb, so you can do that too. It's completely up to you.
In there?
Right in.
Okay. Oh my gosh, look at this.
So a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Perfect.
Okay,
perfect, perfect. And then
some
a
salt.
little bit of salt.
Okay.
We both washed up in advance.
Ready for this segment. That enough?
So good.
Did you good? Try to beat.
Yeah, perfect. Beautiful.
Lord?
That's good. That's good. And then just a little bit of olive oil, like a tablespoon, just to get it going in there. And we're gonna go in with our hands. Okay. And we're gonna mix it all together so it's evenly mixed.
Now I know we incorporated the turkey in this stuffing, But for the holidays, there's always this, do you stuff the turkey or do you cook the stuffing separately?
Yes.
So we thought it would be good to bring that up as well, even though we don't have a bird here. But Geremy, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we're going to be cooking it separately. I think again it has its own place to star on its own. Um, there is yes that tradition of sort of
Yeah.
taking some of the stuffing and then putting it into the turkey to cook. The thing with cooking a whole bird is that
Yeah.
you do want the hot air to circulate evenly throughout, right? That means that it's going to cook properly, it's going to cook evenly, and it's going to cook a little bit faster as well. If we had the stuffing sort of in back of the turkey, the hot air would not be able to get into that sort of carcass, that crevice area, which means that it's going to take a lot longer to reach that safe internal temperature.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then that just means a drier bird.
Yeah.
No one wants a dry bird. Okay. We're mixed up. I have turkey hands, so we're gonna wash, right? Wash really,
Yes.
really well. That's our next step.
Okay, but what I have here is Geremy's kitchen cleaner, and what I love about it is that he's labeled it and keeps it under the sink, so it's far away from foods, and it's basically a mixture of about like a teaspoon of bleach, 3 cups of water. And if we were needing to use the counter again, or putting food right on the counter, if we were going to be cutting vegetables, etc., we would probably want to spray it down and clean it with a clean paper towel so that we're not introducing germs or bacteria into ready foods. And that is something that is called cross-contamination, right? The other thing we want to do is make sure that we clean whatever utensils we're going to be using again. Okay.
Love it. Okay, so our turkey stuffing is almost ready. We're going to add it to our dish. You can use a casserole dish, a baking dish, whatever works. I just have a large pan. It's an oven-safe pan, so that's what we're going to use today. That will also work. Just to say, this is always a great tip. I know we love talking about parchment paper. Just to save from the cleanup afterwards or the heavy cleanup afterwards. Anyways, we're going to take a piece of parchment and we're going to line our pan. Okay, so we're going to take a piece a little bit bigger than the size of the pan and then just run it under some water for seconds.
He's got me using parchment paper all the time now too. It's just great.
Especially if you're dealing with fatigue, right? And you don't want to be scrubbing your pots and pans afterwards. This is a nice way to help with that. So a little bit of water just to crunch it up into a ball, and then we're going to unravel it. So now it's much more malleable. We're going to put that into our pan so that it tucks in nicely, and we're good to go. You can put this in your casserole pan, baking dishes, just to protect the bottom. We're still going to wash the pan after,
Yes.
but at least it doesn't sort of cake on, and you get those like burnt bits, which are hard to scrape off. Okay, we're just going to flatten it into, press it into the dish, just like so. Before it goes into the oven, we have one more thing that we want to add to the top.
Yes.
Again, like we mentioned, the turkey mince is going to be a little dry, right? You know, there's a chance that the turkey itself might be dry. So we don't want the stuffing to be dry. That would be a disappointment. So what we're going to do is we're going to add just a little bit of butter on top.
Okay.
This is going to give it some fat we're missing, but it's also, we're going to make this a flavored butter.
Excellent.
And it's going to actually add some flavor to it as well. So we're using about a couple tablespoons of butter, softened, so just leave it out. And we're going to add a tablespoon of miso paste, one of my favorites in terms of adding a lot of flavor. It's that fermented soy, so we have tons of umami.
I knew that word was coming
Yes.
out. I knew that.
One of my favorites,
Yeah.
right? So we're going to add a little bit, and that is also going to add a little bit of salt, right? So that's why a lighter pinch of salt, we don't need too much. This is going to add some salt as well.
And doing it this way, you actually are in control of how much fat and how much of the paste you want to add, right? So for those that have a low appetite and need a little bit more calories, you can be a little bit more liberal.
Absolutely.
For those that are wanting to have a heart healthier option, lower calorie option, then you could use less. So you're in control.
Beautiful. Orange zest, right? We're gonna add a couple tablespoons of that. That orange zest is going to contain all the essential oils of that orange. It's gonna be super aromatic, super flavorful. And then we'll just mix it all together, okay? Because it's soft, it's gonna be a lot easier to mix this way. This is nice for your roasted veg, if you want to add a little bit to your turkey as well. So even if you made a little bit more and you only want to use a little bit for the stuffing, you can save it. And this actually stores really well in the freezer. I would wrap it up, put it in the freezer, and then you can just cut off a piece as you need. Use those extra chestnuts that we had.
Yes, I didn't eat them.
We're going to put them on top. And then if you have any extra herbs, sage, you just pick off a few pieces. Just a few little spoons of that orange miso butter on top. Into the oven, 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 190 degrees Celsius. And we're going to cook this for about 30 minutes. Okay.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
Go.
Yeah.
So you could see.
And it smells great.
It smells wonderful. Really nice golden brown. You see those chestnuts toasted. That sage, that miso butter has just melted right into the stuffing. Now, of course, checking the internal temperature, right?
Very important. Very important.
So Daniela has our digital thermometer, making sure it's clean before we insert it into our food. When we're checking with stuffing, we're looking for a safe internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit or 74 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
And when we're checking for stuffing, we want to keep it away from any of the edges of the pan or dish or whatever we're using. We want to get an accurate reading, so we're just going to stick it right into the center of the stuffing. So just in the middle there until we get that safe reading.
Great. So as you can see, you could enjoy this as a side, like we said earlier, but heck, I'd probably go in for a meal. I mean, I wouldn't eat the whole thing, but I would have a portion of that.
I mean,
sure.
This is going to steal the show. I'm sorry. But there we have it, our orange chestnut turkey stuffing with some great food safety tips.
Yes. And of course, we also want to add that you don't want to let it sit while everyone's eating, right? So really maximum at room temperature is 2 hours. You want to store it safely. So if you don't think you're going to be eating it all, then maybe portion out what you want to put in the fridge or freezer, right? If you're going to eat it in the next couple of days, 2 to 3 days, then the fridge is fine. If you want to save this for future, then put it in the freezer 2 to 3 months, I guess, would be okay. And then when you defrost it, then you would leave it in the fridge to defrost, or you could also do it in the microwave. And when you defrost, when you reheat it, you want to test again. So you take your digital thermometer out, you test again, make sure you're reaching the same temperature. It's 165
Fahrenheit
and 74 Celsius.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
We're all set.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Enjoy. Thanks for joining us. Catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.